American Airlines, Austrian Airlines, British Airways, Cathay Pacific, Emirates, EVA, Finnair, Hawaiian, KLM, Lufthansa, Qantas, Qatar, Scandinavian Airlines, Singapore, Swiss, United, and Virgin Airlines. It was in alphabetical order, so that that's not necessarily the spot how it shook out for 1 through 20, but it's in alphabetical order. So that lets you know. United is on there, and American Airlines. Those are big two that most people fly on a regular basis in the United States anyway. Lufthansa, I love Lufthansa. Love them, love them, love them. If you're flying to Europe. But anyway, so that gives you a list of the safest airlines. And breaking news, this was just added yesterday actually. The U.S. State Department on last week updated its China travel warning, telling Americans to exercise increased caution in China due to arbitrary enforcement of local laws, as well as special restrictions on dual U.S. Chinese nationals. The advisory, which was updated on the State Department's website, warns that the Chinese government has used exit bans on U.S. citizens, barring them from leaving the country, sometimes for years, in order to compel U.S. citizens to participate in Chinese government investigations. It's to lure individuals back to China from abroad and to aid Chinese authorities in resolving civil disputes in favor of Chinese parties. So in most cases, the U.S. citizen only become aware of the exit ban when they attempt to depart China, and there is no method to find out how long the ban may continue. U.S. citizens under exit bans have been harassed and threatened. U.S. citizens may be subjected to prolonged interrogations and extended detentions for reasons related to state security. So the State Department first issued a level 2 warning because of the exit bans last year, but last week they decided that they are in fear that China will use the bans to lure people back to China to help in that government's investigations. So the department is now recommending against travel to China. Its level 2 warnings are just one step above its exercise normal precautions message in its level 1 warnings. So we talked about the warnings and safety just last week on the show. And so you want to make sure that you take a look. They're not saying don't go to China. Lots of people are going to China. In fact, that's a trend that's increased for 2019 as more and more people are going to China. It's a fantastic destination to go see. Just be aware. You want to be sure that you are going under some type of protection. It does not hurt to first use a travel professional who's going to use a travel supplier who can make sure that they are there for you on the ground in China in case you have a problem. Be a part of a group that goes together so that the paperwork is done as a tour group and they're not individually checking people out of these groups. It's usually when people are there by themselves. The update comes amidst of growing tensions between our two countries, and it includes the chief financial officer of the Chinese phone maker, Huawei, being detained in Vancouver on request of U.S. prosecutors. She's currently facing extradition to the U.S. for fraud charges. So see, you get caught up in these political situations and it's not a good deal. So just know, according to the Global Affairs Canada, 13 Canadian citizens have been detained in China also since December the 1st, 8 of which have since been released. So that's a lot, but that's the travel news for today. It ended kind of on a downer, but that's okay because we have the wireless traveler coming up who's talking about China and some of the technology that they have available to help you. So it's the perfect segue. I'm going to take a very quick break, get a sip of water, and then I'll be back with the wireless traveler to tell you about what's new this week on Thursday Telecom Tech Day. See you.
You're listening to your Bucket List Buster with Karen Duncan.
It's that time of the week, guys. Wireless Traveler. We're back with Telecom Thursday tips with our friends over at the Wireless Traveler. We're talking telecoms in China. As we settle into 2019, many of our listeners are preparing for their winter cruise or vacation, or in the midst of making plans for your next travel adventure. And what an exciting time for travel. One of our more popular destinations this time of year is Asia, and in particular China. If you haven't been, it's a must for your bucket list, but more about that on another show. For this one, we want to delve into how to stay connected in China. So what makes China so different from other countries like Europe, for instance? We turn to the folks at the Wireless Traveler for a short list of do's and don'ts when it comes to taking your smartphones or iPads into China. And some of you will remember when we covered a similar topic on traveling to Cuba a while back. Well, China is a little bit different and is a more of a surveillance state, which means that customs and or police can scan your phones, computers, and iPads for any information at any time under the guise of illegal information. For that reason alone, many savvy business travelers who visit China on a regular basis, as well as study abroad programs and leisure travelers, prefer to rent or buy a burner phone that is disposable and used only for the trip to China. No personal information is left behind, but you still can make and receive calls, send texts, and emails. Another consideration, especially for our Android and Samsung listeners, is that China blocks some social media and website channels such as Google, Gmail, Facebook, Snapchat, and YouTube. Not convenient for staying connected. For this reason, Wireless Travelers suggest you take your own pocket Wi-Fi hotspot into China so you can independently access the internet as you need it with no government interference. Low-cost rental programs are available to meet any budget, and the data is high-speed and reliable, great for sending pics back home as it happens and staying in touch with family. And lastly, beware of hacking when using any sort of public or free Wi-Fi in hotels or airports, especially in China. Another reason to have your own secure password protected pocket Wi-Fi with a burner phone. Small investment, but definite peace of mind. Keep your smartphone and all your personal information protected so you can go about your sightseeing tours and fully enjoy the culture and diversity of all that China has to offer. Next week on our topic is all about renting satellite phones, and just one word of warning, certain countries have been reported to confiscate these expensive handsets, including China. So listen out for the do's and don'ts of staying connected in remote locations and on cruises with Wireless Traveler next Thursday. We hope you enjoy listening this week, and we look forward to meeting up with you again next Thursday for more tech tips from our friends over at the Wireless Traveler. And if you would like to get in contact with the Wireless Traveler, call them at 1-866-700-3883 or wirelesstraveler.com. Well, that's all we have time for today, folks. I sure did have a good time. It was a lot of information, but it was a lot of important information. Remember to subscribe to your Bucket List Buster and leave some comments. Go to Spreaker.com. That's SPREAKER.com. And leave me some feedback. Subscribe, guys. I need you. So next week, we're going to be talking to Katie Harwood of G Adventures, all about their tours that they have. They're a small group tours company, and their new marine programs. So this is good. This is your Bucket List Buster. Travel recharges your mind, body, and soul. You deserve it. Your Bucket List Buster is here to help you start living your dreams. Visit me on Facebook and like me on Instagram. Send me some pictures. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you found some resources in today's show that excite your travel juices, provided you some valuable information for your next trip, and it gave you permission to take time off and have some fun someplace in the world. Ciao.